I'd like to show you how to market a webinar in 2025. And in this episode, I'm going to show you both free and paid ways to market your webinar. And not just that, I will show you a third way, which is the not so free way to market a webinar. So let me get into it so I can explain more to you. Let's firstly dive into the free ways that you can market your webinar. First way is obviously to use your existing list. If you have an existing mailing list, that would be the first place to start. Now, the problem is you may not have an existing mailing list. If you don't have one yet, then it might be a little bit difficult to do this by promoting to your existing list. So I have a second solution for you there, and that is you could use your LinkedIn profile. You see, in LinkedIn, there is a way where you can invite your contacts to an event using the LinkedIn platform itself. Once again, if you have built your LinkedIn connections with the right people, then this is a great opportunity for you to just invite people using LinkedIn to get people to come to your webinar. And of course, the third and final way is to use social media marketing. I'm assuming that most of you as coaches will have some form of social media following. So post it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or wherever your followers are, and invite them to come to your webinar. Those are the three ways that are free to get people to come to your webinar. Now, the pros of this free way is obviously it's free. You don't have to spend any money, so it's very little risk to you. The cons, however, is that you will realize it's really hard to scale. It's in fact quite hard to scale because, for example, if you have a small email list, if you have a small social media following or a small LinkedIn following, then it's gonna be a little bit difficult to use these free techniques. That's why it's probably great for you at this stage to use this free way to validate your offer, to validate that your webinar is something that people will want to attend. And so this stage is really just for validation. So if you really want to scale, this is not where I suggest you stop. That's why I will show you the second way, which is the not so free way. Now, what do I mean by the not so free way? The not so free way is, number one, what you can do is you can get other people to promote you or your webinar to their list. Now, this is known in marketing circles as a JV. Why I say it's not so free is because that whatever you sell at your webinar, the person promoting you will probably want a percentage of the sales. And that's pretty standard. And it could range anywhere from maybe 20% to 50 or even 70% of what you sell at your webinar. So you're giving away a big chunk of your profits to the promoter. Now, there is a second way, which is similar to this as well, but this is where you get to speak on people's stage. There are all these event organizers out there with big lists of people where they might be willing to promote you to their list. Now, if they promote you to their list and your webinar to their list, well, basically you're getting a lot of people to your webinar. The downside, of course, is that you have to give away a huge percentage of your sales. In many cases, with this event promoters, it could be up to 70%, 80% of your sales. But the positive side of it is that it is a no-risk way for you to actually host your webinar and get people to come to your webinar. And oh yeah, one more con is that, like with event promoters, you don't get the email list. So if people sign up for your webinar and they're promoting you, you don't get to take away that list. So that's another con, and it makes it very hard for you to build your own business in the future as a result. One of our clients started this way, where he was getting other people to promote his webinars and his events, and he really used that opportunity to refine his offer, to refine his webinar until he was converting at a really good rate before moving on to the next step. This is something for you to consider when you're using other people's lists. That is, you are getting ready to scale on your own. And that's where we come to the third way, which is the paid traffic. Now, using paid traffic, there are multiple channels where you can promote your webinar successfully. For us, most of our clients, we start them off on Facebook, Instagram, and then move on to YouTube. The bread and butter, number one, is the meta channels, which is Facebook and Instagram. That's where we always start because it's easy to start, it's easy to test messaging, and it's got a lot of people on it, right? And it's easy to set up. Now, the third one, it's YouTube. Okay, YouTube is powerful because YouTube, people get to see and watch you on video, and for us, that has been a very, very effective tool into getting bumps on seats for webinars, seminars, and challenges and any other event. Okay, so YouTube is definitely something you don't want to miss. But I suggest testing your message first on Facebook and then use that same messaging, bring it across to the YouTube platform, and then that's where you really want to scale further. Okay, so those I would say are the big three channels: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then after that, you might want to consider using LinkedIn. So in what scenarios would you be using LinkedIn to promote your webinar? This is in scenarios where you are targeting people of a certain job description, people that are hard to find on other channels. So in what situations would I use LinkedIn to do marketing is number one, where I am targeting a certain level of executives or targeting people with a certain job description that are hard to find on other channels. I wouldn't use LinkedIn as my first point of contact because LinkedIn is extremely expensive. So take this into consideration before jumping into the LinkedIn platform. I would suggest get your offer, get your marketing right, and your marketing message right, using other channels before hopping on to LinkedIn. Now, the other platform that I would consider is TikTok. Now, just recently, a client of mine asked me, should they go on TikTok? And I was actually suggesting that they go on TikTok, but they say, oh, no, it's not our target market. That's not where we are. The fact is that we have had clients that we have promoted on TikTok and they have been quite successful. And we're talking people in the investment niche, we're talking about people in the business niche, and they have worked. I think it really comes down to the messaging that is super important and the targeting. It's not so much about the platform most of the time, it's really about the messaging. Now, I will admit that TikTok will get you a lot of people who are not serious, that are not the highest quality leads. But on the flip side, TikTok does give you a very low CPL, a cost per lead, compared to most other platforms. So, bottom line is you gotta weigh it up, right, to see whether it works for your particular industry, and you just need to test it out. So those are the 5 channels in most cases that I would consider when promoting a webinar. So what are the pros and cons of using paid ads? The pros of using paid traffic is that you can really scale your business to the moon with paid traffic. And this is what all the big coaches are doing that are scaling the businesses to 7, 8, 9 figures. Well, maybe not 9, but 7, 8 figures. Even though 9-figure coaches do use paid advertising, right? Because that is the way to scale. So I would suggest that if you're first starting off, make sure you use the free and not so free techniques first before using paid traffic, because that will help you to refine your offer and your presentation so that when you come to paid traffic, you can really scale well. Now, what are the cons of paid traffic? The cons of paid traffic, in my opinion, is number one, you have to pay money. It's a pay to play kind of thing. So if you do not want to spend a lot of money, then this is maybe not for you. But if you're serious about scaling your business, then you really need to pay. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is you really need a good, strong professional team behind you if you are using paid traffic, because you don't want to have any leakage in your funnel. You want to make sure your funnel is as airtight as possible so that you get the best possible return on ad spend with your funnel. So having the right message, having the right follow-ups, having people even follow up physically with your clients, right? So that is the 2 downsides, right? Bottom line, if you want to do paid traffic, you might want to consider working with an agency like ours or hiring your own team, which can be quite a bit of a hassle. But if you want to work with a team like ours, make sure you reach out and let's have a chat to see if we got a good fit working together. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you got lots of valuable information. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you in the next episode.